Welcome to Cold Brew Finance's end-of-week world currencies, stock markets and commodities. Deep dive for Friday, June 27th, 2025. Kicking things off, I'm Victoria Cashmore. Major currencies showed broad strength against the US dollar. The greenback fell notably against European currencies, dropping 1.6% to 0.8533 versus the euro, and 1.9% to 0.7287 against sterling, both hitting new yearly lows. Weekly performance metrics highlight significant declines for the dollar, particularly against European currencies. The month-to-date decline versus the euro stands at 3.1%, while the year-to-date drop reaches 11.6%. Long-term returns show sustained weakness in the dollar. Against the Swiss franc, the three-year decline is 16.5%, while the yen shows relative strength with a 6.8% gain over the same period. Asian currencies also strengthened against the dollar. The Singapore dollar reached a new yearly high as the greenback fell 0.89% to 1.2756, while the Indian rupee gained 1.3%, pushing the dollar down to 85.4310. Weekly performance shows the dollar declining most sharply against the New Zealand dollar, down 1.5%. The offshore yuan remained relatively stable with just a slight 0.057% change. Looking at decade-long performance, the dollar shows mixed results. Notable strength appears against the Indian rupee with a 34% gain over 10 years, while showing weakness against the Singapore dollar with a 5.5% decline.
Looking at global stock market tracking ETFs, I'm Max Profit. Poland led gains, climbing 6.6% to 31.69, hitting new yearly highs amid strong upward volatility. Taiwan and Israel both reached new highs, advancing 5.4% and 5.2% respectively. Sweden and Japan followed with gains around 5%. Weekly returns show Poland leading with a 6.6% gain, while Taiwan posted strong month-to-date returns of 10.4%. Year-to-date, Poland has surged 51.8%, significantly outperforming peers. Israel and Sweden both show solid year-to-date gains above 19%. Long-term performance shows Poland leading with a three-year annual rate of return of 29%, while Israel boasts a 52% one-year return. Taiwan maintains the strongest 10-year performance with an annual rate of return of 6.1%. Among underperformers, Norway and Denmark both declined for a second consecutive week, down 0.95% and 0.3% respectively. Turkey gained 1.7% but recorded new yearly lows, while maintaining sideways movement over the past 4 days. Weekly returns show Norway down nearly 1%, though maintaining a 24% year-to-date gain. Turkey posts the weakest year-to-date performance, down 15%. New Zealand shows minimal year-to-date returns at just 0.4%. Long-term data shows Turkey with the weakest performance, down 27% over 1 year and minus 4% annual return over 10 years. Denmark declined 9.6% over 1 year, while New Zealand shows minimal growth across all timeframes.
Considering commodities, I'm Liquidity. Gold futures fell 82 to 3,286.10, down 2.4%. Silver futures added 0.39 to 36.37. Notable movement in copper futures, rising 6.1% to 5.12, showing strong upward volatility. Aluminum futures has climbed for 4 consecutive weeks, rising 3.5% to 2,559.25. Palladium futures exhibited significant momentum, surging 9.4% to 1,151.80, with very strong upward volatility and trend signals. Looking at long-term performance, gold futures shows a 10-year ARR of 108%, while silver futures recorded 87%. Copper futures and aluminum futures posted more modest gains of 68% and 34% respectively. In energy markets, Brent crude oil futures fell sharply by 13.2% to 66.80. Crude oil futures dropped 12.5% to 65.52. Natural gas futures declined 2.8% to 3.74, despite maintaining a strong positive trend. Gasoline futures declined 10.7% to 2.8, while heating oil futures fell 9.7% to 2.29. Month to date, energy futures show mixed results, with natural gas leading gains at 8.5%. The 10-year performance of energy futures remains challenged. Brent crude and crude oil show minimal gains, while natural gas leads with a modest 3% annual rate of return. In livestock, live cattle futures and feeder cattle futures both rose, gaining 1.1% and 1.8% respectively. Lean hogs futures reached a new one-year high at 113.25, marking its fifth consecutive weekly gain. Grains showed weakness across the board. Wheat futures led declines, falling 7.7% to 533.75. Soybean futures dropped 3.3% to 1,024.75, with strong downward volatility. Corn continued its negative trend. Grain futures showed broad weakness this week. Wheat futures led the decline, dropping 7.7% to 533.75. Soybean futures fell 3.3% amid strong downward volatility. Corn futures and oat futures posted modest declines, both showing consecutive weekly losses. Long-term performance shows concerning trends. Wheat futures and corn futures both recorded significant three-year declines of 45% and 43% respectively. Rough rice futures performed relatively better, though still down 18% over 3 years. Mixed performance in soft commodities this week. Cocoa surged 9.5% to 8,947. Cotton futures gained 3.9%, with strong upward volatility. Coffee futures declined 3.9%, marking its third consecutive weekly loss. Orange juice extended its losing streak to 4 weeks. Year-to-date performance varies significantly. Orange juice has experienced the steepest decline, down 54%. Cocoa shows a 23% loss, while sugar has fallen 13%. Cotton futures remains marginally positive, up 1.3%. 10-year returns reveal notable gains in soft commodities. Cocoa leads with a 169% total return, followed by coffee futures at 127%. Orange juice posted an 88% gain, while sugar returned 43% over the decade.
And with that, we conclude another end-of-week World Currency, Markets and Commodities episode. I'm Victoria Cashmore, along with my AI co-hosts Max Profit and Liquidity. Thanks for watching. Look for daily wrap-ups every day just after 5 p.m. New York time. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. Cold Brew Finance is an experimental project with market reports written, narrated, and delivered totally by AI, with market data kindly provided by financialmodelingprep.com. Always seek professional financial advice before making any investment decisions. Check into the channel daily for coverage of stocks, crypto, currency, and commodities. Thanks for watching.